When Sheikh Zayed became ruler in 1966, Abu Dhabi Island's coastline was simply a rugged sandy beach lapped by the Arabian Sea, as this aerial photograph taken that year shows. But it wasn't long before he set his mind to developing this particular stretch on the island's northwest side. This was initially motivated by safety rather than aesthetics, since the island had long been prone to flooding due to severe winter storms, which caused waves to sweep across the flat expanse of sand. Sheikh Zayed's first directive was therefore to build a breakwater north of the coast to protect it from flooding. Following this, he began to implement measures on the coast itself, which included planting trees, extending the beaches out, and constructing the boardwalk, which now attracts walkers, cyclists, and rollerbladers. Today, there are also numerous cafes scattered along it, as well as a couple of beach clubs offering water sports, while the breakwater is home to buzzy Marina Mall for the shopaholics among us. But remnants of the past happily remain in the form of wooden dhows bobbing in the old port beside Abu Dhabi's abundant fish market, while at the opposite end of the Corniche, the Founders Memorial, a 3D bust of Sheikh Zayed, is a reminder of all he achieved, right on the spot where he liked to stand and watch progress underway. I've personally loved living on the Corniche for the past 10 years, riding my bike along its cycle path, taking in the dhows, bobbing in the old port, and soaking up Abu Dhabi's abundant sunshine on the beaches. Someone else who enjoys calling the stretch home is long-term resident Mary Corrado, who sat down with me at one of the area's seaside cafes to talk about the changes she's witnessed during her time here. So, Mary, nice to be with you on the beautiful Corniche today.
Good morning, Melissa. It's wonderful to be here. It's a beautiful sunny day, but even a few clouds, which we don't always see.
Indeed. So could you tell me, first of all, just what brought you to Abu Dhabi and when you came here?
Well, we came in 1977 initially to visit some of the first Abu Dhabians to come to the United States to go to university. So we came here for a 2-week visit. We looked all over the Emirates, and then we decided to come back for 1 year, and we're still here. So.
And what do you do now? What have you been doing in this time?
I'm currently retired from my job. I was the country director of AMED East for 20 years, which is an American educational nonprofit organization doing language teaching, testing, managing the Fulbright scholars, doing different kinds of training. And after 20 years, I decided to retire. And now I'm the head of the advisory council for the Make-A-Wish Foundation here in the UAE. And I'm also an ADMAF, Abu Dhabi Music and Arts Foundation advisor, and the honorary president of the American Women's Network to help any kind of woman who's new to the Abu Dhabi to come and meet other ladies and join in our activities. That's what I do.
And could you describe what Abu Dhabi was like when you arrived and how it's changed, in that time? So how many years is that altogether?
It's 40 some years, but Abu Dhabi at that time was, I think the tallest buildings then were 5 stories, and then they gradually allowed them to be 11 stories and then 20 stories. So there weren't too many paved roads. There were no traffic lights, all roundabouts. From Salam Street to the water going east, it was all, the buildings were just beginning to be built, and it was being built on sand. And we lived in that area, and we would take our children to the beach, which has now become the Beach Rotana Hotel. It was a beautiful beach, and we'd take them down there to swim, and we'd all spend our days down there. And Abu Dhabi was, of course, much smaller. Really, pretty much, there was nothing after 19th Street. And when Sheikh Zayed started to develop the other side of 19th Street, some people were thinking, "Oh, that's too far out of town." And now we think 19th Street. So yes, so it was a much smaller town, and of course there were very few trees. Just the beginnings of planting trees. Sheikh Zayed was very keen to make everything as green as possible, so he started planting trees. And of course we had all roundabouts, so we had beautiful trees and fountains and things in the roundabouts. And on the Corniche we had the volcano fountain. We had many different kinds of fountains. The pearl fountain with the water coming out. So it was wonderful to walk on the Corniche with all these different fountains. And the Corniche has expanded 3 times into the water. It's been developed because it used to be just in front of the buildings that are now that are on the waterfront, and of course when we had winter storms, we'd get water washing up over the buildings and water in the streets and things. So as the Corniche expanded, then it developed from nice walkway to even a better beach, and now we have this wonderful beach along here, further down into town, plus many more beaches. The beaches on Huderiat and Sadiat, and every place. Wonderful facilities for people to enjoy the sun and sea.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And when did you actually move to the Corniche, to actually live on the Corniche?
1993. So we moved here.
And why did you move to the Corniche? What makes it such a beautiful location?
Well, it was close to some of the grocery stores here, close to Abella's, close to the American Community School, which my children were going to, and we wanted to be on the beach because where we lived in the tourist club wasn't on the beach anymore. It was in the middle of many buildings.
You mentioned to me that you met Sheikh Zayed. You actually saw him a couple of times on the Corniche. Can you describe some of those encounters?
Yes. Well, the most memorable one was when we were we are both runners, and we were running on Friday morning, and of course we're running in singlets and shorts, and we came to the traffic light right here at Khalij Al Arabi, and who pulls up to the traffic light but Sheikh Zayed, driving around looking at everything. Friday morning he liked to drive around and look and see what was going on, and we felt so embarrassed.
So did you meet Sheikh Zayed a few times?
Yes, and when the Queen came to visit in 1979, she came to the Meridian, and I had a chance to meet both the Queen and Sheikh Zayed at that time, and was taking pictures of them, and that was the first time I met him.
What year was that?
At the Meridian Hotel. It had just opened in April of '79.
Wow.
And that's on the occasion of her visit to the Emirates. So and she and Prince Philip were hosted to tea by Sheikh Zayed and all the rulers of the Emirates.
Wow.
Came for tea. So.
That must be so beautiful.
Yes, it was a very nice occasion.
So were there any other encounters that you had with Sheikh Zayed?
No, only to call on National Day in the early days, in the 70s and 80s. That was pretty much, for me, that was seeing Sheikh Zayed.
And did you saw him regularly on the Corniche?
Yes, you'd see him driving around. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In his different cars.
He was very proactive in making sure that everything was moving and developing the way he'd like it to be. Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
And I read somewhere that he was spotted on occasion climbing up a palm tree using his agal as a makeshift tool to like re sort of position the hessian bags to protect the dates from the dates from the birds, etc.
Yes.
And did you ever see that happen?
No, I didn't, but I know that he was very involved with agriculture and making sure that there was plenty of opportunity to grow palm trees, and the palm trees in the middle of the median were all available to anyone who could climb up there and pick the dates when they were in season. They were free to everybody.
Are they still free to everybody?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think the gardeners, take care of it and take them away, and I don't know what they're used for, but.
Oh, but that is so.
Yes.
There's so many lovely stories I've heard like that.
Yes.
Do you have any other stories that you have heard over the time about how he just never seemed to lose his human touch? He always seemed to be among the people and accessible to everyone.
Well, I know of one story of that happened for my husband. He was sitting with some of his friends in Ramadan late at night, and they heard this giant crash outside the house, and they went out in the street, and there was Sheikh Zayed, and there was another car that had run into him because he was going around the roundabout, and the other car had hit him, and everyone got, Sheikh Zayed, oh my gosh, and Sheikh Zayed said, I'm okay, how's this other guy? And they wanted to just throw him in jail, and he said, no, it's my fault, I wasn't looking. He said, get him a new car, it's my fault, you get him a new car, and never mind. And that was it, and he got back in his car, and off he went. So, he was quite generous, and nobody was hurt, and he just was, no, my fault, get him a car, don't prosecute him, don't take him to jail, so generous like that.
So could you tell me about National Day? I mean, since I've been here, it's always been celebrated with cars driving up and down, and you must have seen quite a few National Days from your apartment.
Yeah. National Day was always celebrated here on the Corniche We had parades, we had floats, we had banners, school children made big murals to post, competition for their artwork. We had the bands playing. The reviewing stand was here not very far, just a block down there, where they would review all the floats and parades, soldiers and everything. So everyone was here celebrating. So it was only a natural continuation of that idea of National Day on the Corniche.
Yeah, so tell me about your experiences of National Day.
Well, we used to come out all the time with the kids to watch all the things and take pictures of the wonderful creative artwork that the kids were doing. You know, all the school children from the government schools. So that was great, and to watch the band and the floats, and it was exciting, and you really felt part of this country as it was growing.
And when Sheikh Zayed was still alive, was he involved?
He would come to the reviewing stand. Yes, of course. Yes. Sheikh Zayed and the other senior sheikhs would come to the reviewing stand. Yeah.
And were there always fireworks?
Yeah, I think so, in a limited way in the first, and it just has been growing and growing until, as you see, this last National Day we had a really amazing, including drones and fireworks. So yeah.
And do you think, because this has been, although it's changed a lot, it's because it's been a constant throughout Sheikh Zayed's life and continues. Do you think his spirit is here? It's sort of the old Abu Dhabi. Do you feel it?
Well, in the old Abu Dhabi, but his spirit is really in LA, and that's his home. But yes, he loved being here and creating this city.
Before leaving the Corniche, I'd like to share one last story relating to the breakwater that's behind me, which is yet more proof of Sheikh Zayed's enormous wisdom. According to the book Early Days in the Emirates by Nicholas Cochrane-Dyett, when Sheikh Zayed initially proposed the breakwater idea to a group of international engineers, drawing out his plan in the beach sand, just on the sand, with a camel stick apparently, they told him in no uncertain terms that it wouldn't work. They argued that the man-made land masses would trap sediment moving along the coast, causing the area to completely silt up and to disastrous effects. But Sheikh Zayed insisted that this was the answer. Apparently, years later, some of those same engineers returned to Abu Dhabi, expecting the worst and ready to say, "I told you so," but were amazed to find that there had been no silting, while the issue of flooding had been solved. On this occasion, Sheikh Zayed finally revealed to one of them why he'd been so sure his plan would work. He explained that he used to walk up and down the beach, observing the tides closely, and had become able to predict their actions and how they affected the sands. As Nicholas Cochrane-Dyett says in his book, that takes a special kind of observation and a very keen mind.